This is Algebra 1, test number 5. Got through lesson 2.3, subtraction of real numbers. Study guide. First one says which number line or which number line models something that you could say that simplifies -3 plus -6. This is the number you start at, -3. So this one starts at -3. This one starts at +3, so that one's out. -3 and +3, that one's out. So it's between A and C. And then it says plus -6. You have to know that your negative numbers are this way, your positive numbers are this way. So if it goes to the right, if it goes this direction at all, it's wrong. So we're looking at this one goes to the right, that one's wrong for sure. So looking at A, it moves 6 times to the left, so A would be the correct one right there. Number 2, greatest common factor. 3, least common multiple. Greatest common factor is the number that goes into something. The factors of 7 are simply 1 and 7. That's the only numbers that you can multiply by and get the number 7. Okay? There's more factors of the number 56, but you don't have to check those. All you have to do is check, does one goes into everything, so you're not going to talk about that being the greatest common factor. All you want to see, does the number 7 go into 56? Ask yourself, can I multiply anything by 7 and get 56? We know it's 8. Therefore, 7 is your greatest common factor. It goes into both numbers, 7 and 56. Find the least common multiple. These are the two that people get confused. Which one's which? Multiples are when numbers count like 9, 18, 27, 36. They keep going like that. 18 does the same thing. 18, 36. It keeps going like that. But you don't have to because you're looking for the least one, the smallest one. We already have the smallest one here. 18 is your least common multiple. Greatest common factors are the numbers that go in. Least common multiples are the numbers that you count by, the multiples of it. Okay, we talked about 4 different properties. You're only responsible for 4 right now. The identity property and the property of 0, those two kind of go together. And the commutative and the associative property, those two kind of go together. First off, 0 plus x is x. If you're looking at it as a left side and a right side of the equal sign, you have something x on the left side. And on the right side, it is still x. Its identity doesn't change. It is the same on both the left and the right. Therefore, this one is the identity property. The other one, 5 plus -5.9 is equal to 0. You started out with 5.9 on one side of the equal sign. It becomes 0. Its identity is absolutely changed. It is the property of 0. So those two are the ones that go together. The other two are the commutative and the associative properties. Remember, commutative acts as if people that commute for their job. They go from one position, one area to another area. If you look at the left side of the first, or number 6, if you look at the left side, 9 plus 1/6. If you look at the right side, it says 1/6 plus 9. They change positions or they commuted. Therefore, this one is the commutative property. And then the last one, 1 plus 4 plus 6 is equal to 1 plus 4 plus 6. As you read them, they sound exactly the same. Only the parentheses move. The numbers don't move, just the parentheses do. And the one where just the parentheses move is the associative property. So if you have to, spend a few minutes tonight just memorizing how these 4 look, if my explanations don't make sense to you. Simplify these expressions. -5 plus +6, adding opposite terms, one negative, one positive. So you subtract them. 6 minus 5, you get the number 1. You have to determine if the number 1 is positive or negative. 6 is positive, and it's the bigger one, so yeah, that's absolutely right. 1 is positive. We have 3 terms for number 9, -5.8 minus a -2.7 plus 7.3. We talked about subtraction. Anytime you subtract, you add the opposite. -5.8 plus a positive 2.7 plus 7.3. Now all we have is addition. When we put the first 2 numbers together, -5.8 and positive 2.7, one is positive, one's negative, so we will subtract them. 8 minus 7 is 1, 5 minus 2 is 3. You have to determine if that's going to be positive or negative. As you look at it, again, 5.8 is the larger absolute value. It's negative, therefore it's negative 3.1. Bring the rest of it down, plus 7.3. Again, opposite signs. Subtract them. 3, when you put them together, 3 minus 1 is 2, and 7 minus 3 is 4. And keep the sign of the larger absolute value. 7.3 is the larger one out of the two. It's positive, so it'll be positive. Number 10 says the absolute value of 18 minus 5. Act like it's in parentheses. 18 minus 5 is the number 13, and then do the absolute value of that. Now, some people see this and they want to do the opposite. They want to make this negative 13. It will never be negative. All it's talking about with absolute value is how far away is it from 0. Its distance from 0 is 13. So a positive number will always be positive. A negative number will always be positive. Distance is never negative. 4.6 minus 1.7 minus 4.68 plus 3.1 minus 5.36. Again, add the opposites. 4.6 plus a negative 1.7 plus a negative 4.68 plus 3.1. We don't change that one because it's already addition. Plus a negative 5.36. Again, the reason we're doing that is to where we can follow all of the same rules with addition and subtraction. Plus, this was supposed to say a negative 1.7. So if you look just at the first two, 4.6 plus a negative 1.7, you subtract them because they're opposite signs. You got to borrow one. 16 minus 7 is 9. 3 minus 1 is 2. 2.9. You have to determine, is it positive or negative? 4.6 was the larger value, and it's positive, so it's a positive 2.9. Bring the next number down, and it's plus a negative 4.68. We got a bunch of numbers to deal with right here, so we won't keep writing them all. We'll just bring them down one at a time. Opposite signs again, so subtract them. 4.68 is the larger value. So you have something that looks like this now. 4.68 minus 2.9, and it'll be 0. Because remember, when you add or subtract, you have to stack your decimals. 8 minus 0 is 8. You have to borrow 1. 16 minus 9 is 7. And then 3 minus 2 is 1. You have to determine if it's positive or negative. 4.68 is bigger. It's the larger absolute value. So it's negative 1.78. Bring this next one down, plus 3.1. Again, opposite signs, one positive, one negative. So subtract your absolute values. We'll do the same thing. 3.1 minus 1.78, and we'll have to put a 0 placeholder. Borrow. 10 minus 8 is 2. Borrow again. 10 minus 7 is 3. 2 minus 1 is 1.32. 1.32. Then you have to determine which, if it's a positive or negative. 3.1. 3.1 is the larger. 3.1 is the positive value, so it's going to be positive. Then bring the last one down, plus negative 5.36. Opposite values one more time. 5.36 minus 1.32. 6 minus 2 is 4. 3 minus 3 is 0. 5 minus 1 is 4. So you have 4.04. And 5.36 is negative. It's the larger absolute value. So finally, it's a negative 4.04.